Every single job I've worked has taught me way more than any of the books that I've ever read. And some of those jobs and some of those lessons I still use in my business today. My name is Quinn Redmond. I'm the owner of Gainer Solutions, which is a marketing agency. And I've also built my own personal brand and other businesses from scratch. And today I want to talk to you about the jobs that I've worked and some of those jobs and some of those lessons that I still currently use today. So the main one that I still use today is the fact that I used to be a janitor at a Crunch. I did this for, I don't know, probably call it 6-ish weeks, maybe 8 weeks. Um, it was one of those that was very weird because I previously had a business. I had other things that I was doing. I was kind of back and forth in terms of some of the things that I was working on, and I ended up being a janitor for a little while. And I had been a bus boy before. That was my first job at a Fuzzies. So that was when I was 16, and I had to do that because cashier at a Fuzzies, they pour alcohol, so you have to be 18. So being a janitor was interesting. Being at a gym was interesting. Some of those lessons, some of those things, like making $8 an hour and just kind of just showing up and understanding, hey, I'm making $8 an hour, and I'm frustrated at myself because the business isn't doing as good as it should have been. I wasn't talking to as many people as I should have been. I wasn't focused as I should have been, and so here I am with this vacuum on my back, walking around this gym, vacuuming this entire gym, putting all the weights back, power washing the showers, and mopping the floors, and making sure that everything in this gym looks good and looks nice. And the main thing that really taught me is no matter what, someone has to do that. And sometimes we think about in our business when it's just like, okay, let's say you open your own gym. Let's say you start, you open this thing. It's like, okay, well, if you don't have someone hired on as a janitor, then like you're going to be doing those things too. And every single business has those jobs that maybe not everyone wants to do. And sometimes you as a business owner, you're not willing to do those things. And I think this was one of those kind of resets for me where it was just like, hey, this is a job you don't really want to do. This is a job that you're essentially kind of doing essentially to kind of pass time and just have some extra bread on the side to help focus and do some other things. But the main clarity piece was, hey, there's a job that you're not willing to do in your business and you need to do more of it. Every single person has that. As a business owner, you wear every single hat. Every single hat. Even if you have someone hired on, and let's say they're quote unquote a CMO, or maybe they're just the marketing director, or maybe they're a social media manager, you still have to have an understanding of, okay, what does success look like? What does failure look like with this role? What things do I expect out of this person? What barriers and what bars can I set for them to at least reach? And then where they succeed and where they do better in certain areas, then that's up to them. But I need to set at least a floor, at least a barrier threshold for them to meet. And you have to understand, you have to know that as a business owner. You have to understand and know what a good social media manager looks like versus a bad one. Because if you have no clue and you have a bad one that's hired on, you're just burning money because you're not getting the results, you're not getting the success, you're not getting anything out of them. But because you don't understand what they're doing, they might be able to spin it. They might be able to say other things that are going on. And it's glaring because so many people don't want to do that extra job. They know it's important. They know they need to learn it. They know they need to do something, but they're not willing to do it because it's kind of painful. Or maybe it's a little bit of a struggle, or oh, well, I don't want anyone to it doesn't matter. You need to do it. You need to do it. Like there is one thing in your business that I guarantee someone you could hire to do it. You could. So either spend the money and hire someone to do that job, or you do it. That's how it has to work. Every single business owner has to understand that. You wear every single hat in the business. You wear every single one. And I knew that. I used to know that. But when I was the person that was moving snow at 4 a.m. after a blizzard, and I've got 27 clients, and I'm out there in literally negative degree temperatures with an even colder wind chill, and I haven't slept, and I worked for 30 straight hours, yeah, guess what? I either could have hired someone on or I got to go do that work. That is a struggle for some people. And then they end up fighting themselves because, hey, why would I go get more work if I'm the one that has to do the work? I know that struggle. I've been there too. Hey, if the thing that you do sucks and you absolutely hate it and you don't want to do it, but yet you don't have someone hired on to do it, you don't sell it and you don't make money. And then you wonder, oh, why is this not working? Why are we struggling in these areas? It's because there is a thing that you're not willing to do. And a lot of times I say actual job because if you think about it as a business owner, every single role or every single action that you do inside of your business, you can delegate that to some type of person if you put it under that actual person, that under title. Then you can hire people. But until you go and you do the work yourself, you know what needs to be done, you have an understanding of it, you have no clue. You have no clue. Social media manager. If you have no clue about social media, if you have no clue some of the thresholds, some of the barriers, some of the minimums that you need to do to have a little bit of success and a little bit of results, and you just go and you just hire someone, you are burning money, you are wasting time, and it's not working because you need to go fail. You need to do it yourself, fail, and then succeed, know what it takes. So then that way, when you hire someone on, you hold them to a higher standard. You hold them to a minimum threshold, and then they succeed over the top of that threshold. And then that area depends on, hey, how good or how bad are they? If they're someone that just kind of meets the bare minimum, maybe that's okay. Maybe it's suffice for now. But you want to be able to find those A players, and those A players are going to be able to double up your threshold. They're going to be the ones that absolutely blow out of the water what you were able to do and understand, because it's like you understand the concept. But for most business owners, they're not social media managers. They're not absolute, fantastic marketing. Sometimes they have one thing that they do better than everyone else, and then all those other jobs and roles and hats that they wear, they're terrible at. But you have to know what's good and bad. And until you take the time to think and sit down and process through what's good and what's bad, you're just wasting a ton of time. But you have to go and do those jobs. You have to go and do those roles to be able to understand and put yourself in that place. Because I think that's another element too. If you're a business owner, and let's say for the snow removal aspect, if you start a snow removal business and you've never gone out and done snow removal yourself, you don't know what it actually takes to do the job, you run into that issue too. There are a lot of people out there that are just saying, hey, I'm going to just hire someone out to do this job, and they don't know what it takes. And they're going out there, they're hiring people, and they don't understand what the person needs for them to do the job successfully. If you said, hey, we're going to do snow removal cheaper than anyone else, we're just going to charge $10, and we're going to have, 5 guys come out and they're going to shovel your driveway. Well, if you don't understand that, for one, either you're going to spend $100 on some really, really nice shovels, or they're going to break all the time. So there's an element of it, and not understanding, hey, you can't just go get some cheapo shovels and they're just going to break all the time. And so boom, that's an easy expense, run it up. Then you're also not going to have very many people that are going to work that job. Because if you're saying, hey, I'm going to pay $2 to every single one of these guys, for the $10 of their time, and then that means that you as the business make zero money, which then means it's like, hey, I'm going to pay these guys $1 a driveway. And again, if you've never shoveled a driveway, or you've never done the work of what your business is doing, which for most people you should, you have no clue. You have no clue. Do the job. Every single business, there's one thing. And just by watching this video, I guarantee you're sitting here and you're like, I know I need to do a better job of reaching out, and I need to do a better job of making content, and I've just really been lacking because I'm not taking the time to sit down and put the topics on paper. I'm not taking the time to sit down and structure out what type of script do I want? What type of topics do I want to talk about? How am I going to do this? When am I going to set the time aside? But until you do it, you're not going to see the success. You're not going to see the results. It's scary. It's ugly. A lot of times it sucks. But that's what it takes. That's what it takes. So there's probably a job that you've worked previously in your life that you have tons of lessons from. And you know what? Being a janitor, it did suck. It did. And I also went to that gym. So like I had some other friends that I knew, and then you know, them seeing me in my work stuff as a janitor like kind of sucked, because I was in a place that wasn't the best for me. I was in a place and spot where it's like, hey, I was more successful. I was doing other things. I was doing things that were working really, really well. And then I ultimately fell on my face, and now I'm a janitor. And so I felt the failure of why I was at the job. The job sucked, but the job sucked more because I felt the failure of the business on my back the entire time. All I thought about was the failure of my business and the problems and issues that I had in my business, the mistakes that I made, the lessons that I wish I knew sooner, the things that were ultimately holding so much weight over the top of me were the ones that ultimately kind of drove me crazy. Yes, I failed. And you know what? Now I'm here, you know, power washing these showers and mopping these floors. It sucks. But you know what? It's because that's a job that needs to be done. Otherwise, guess what? People aren't coming to the gym because you have a nasty gym that's super dirty and not clean, and no one's going to show up. So if it's your place, make sure that someone's doing that job, and make sure you understand of what it takes to do a good job versus a bad job, because in the end, that might cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. So I'll see you in the next video.